Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. Hope you're having a good day. Let me start out by saying Thursday's June 6th, D-Day. If you have never been to Normandy and surroundings, do everything you can to learn about it and then go there. I have done it now twice. And speechless, for lack of a better word. You watch Saving Private Ryan, but it's very tough to watch at the beginning, but it really does not play into what actually happened. They narrowed Saving Private Ryan and the landing on the beach to like something that lasted a few minutes when it lasted hours. And the climb up the cliffs, when you go to Normandy and the surrounding, you got to see what these men had to go through. And then there's the American Cemetery, the hedgerows, Omaha Beach, all the surrounding areas, as well as the little towns. If you have a chance, go do it. D-Day is Thursday, and I have to tell you, one of the best places I took one of my sons. The other has not been there. I plan on it, but he's having a baby soon. So, by the way, I think I told you I am not going to be a grandpa. I'm going to be called something else around the first week of July. Hey, yo. Okay. In case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. And we don't screw around. We have no bias, no agenda, no ulterior motive. We always used to talk markets. We used to have CEOs on. We had some major CEOs on this show. We had politicians on, and we just got tired of hearing, everything's great, everything's wonderful, I'm the greatest. And then it started. You know, the takeover of the government of us. First slowly, and now swiftly. So we just have to do a lot more of that as we go forward. And as you know, I've said this election is the Ebola virus versus the bubonic plague. As you know, I have stated to you that the choice, though, is binary. As you know, I have said to you, we cannot have another 4 years of what Joe Biden is doing to the Treasury. He's murdering us. And it's very simple. Spend us into hell and then come after us with the taxes. And he has proposed amazingly, he has proposed taking long-term capital gains from 20% up to 44%. He has proposed the utter stupidity of unrealized taxes. So in other words, if you've made money on your securities throughout the year, but you have not sold, you have to pay taxes if it's up, which means if you don't have the money, you're going to be forced to sell, and the market could snowball. The man is a doofus. He has also proposed, but has already backed away, wealth taxes. And, of course, the big freaking lie. Oh, we are not going to extend the Trump tax cuts, but don't worry, only the wealthy will be affected. A lie. Every tax cut goes away, so anybody who got a tax cut, which is from $1, doesn't matter how much you make, how wealthy you are, your taxes go up. And they're trying to say no, but it's a lie, and they're very good at lying. They're fabulous at lying. They make Trump look like a truth teller. The bottom line is you can't pick apart a bill and say, oh, we're going to keep that one in. It's either all or nothing. So that binary choice, well, you get my point. So we're going to keep talking the talk because the latest is now he's going to do something about the border. And we just want you to remember that for 3 years, they opened the border wide like a big, gigantic mouth of a shark, and millions of people flooding in. And we have no clue who a ton of them are. The head of Homeland Security has said, we're not sure. You know the word gotaways, that's exactly what it means. So he told us for 3 years the border's secure, and by the way, once it got bad, there's nothing we can do about it. But then he saw the poll numbers on immigration, where his poll numbers are worse than root canal and jock itch. So now he puts in an executive order today. Finally. But it doesn't do squat. If illegal crossings surpass 2,500 a day, which have been going on since every day of his presidency, a ban would go into effect. Hey, great. 2,500 a day. So we're letting you know the nightmare of Joe Biden continues. The lies of his continues. The takeover of our lives continues. And what do you mean by takeover? $2 trillion a year deficits, and then he's coming after you. And when he tells you, oh, we're going after the privileged few, you know, the wealthy, the mega wealthy, the successful. No, he's going after you. Why? A, number one, the Trump tax cuts, but B, what do higher taxes do? What do higher taxes do? Let's say they start at $200,000 a year, $300,000, $400,000. What do? It means as you get bigger and better and more successful, he's got a machete out cutting you off at the knees. And in certain states, we're talking in the 50s. In the 50s. You got to work into the month of July or August in some blue states. It's sheer insanity. So as we get to the end of the year, we're going to cover it. We'll cover Trump also. As you know, we talked about this latest thing in Wisconsin that was on 60 Minutes, which nauseates the hell out of me. But again, we got this binary choice. So we'll see how it goes. Lastly, and then we'll get into markets and commodities and J-Lo and Taylor Swift. J-Lo and Taylor Swift. Yeah, we'll do that later. We talked about Fauci yesterday, and people were thinking we were just defending this guy, Fauci. No, we were offending the people that just make crap up. And all I know is in real time, 1.1 million people died. And in real time, nobody knew what the hell was going on. And in real time, you really, to try and figure out what to do. And to think all of a sudden he's the Antichrist because the CDC said 6 feet. Or masks. And we're told now, well, they didn't know and maybe it didn't work or this, that. Who the hell knew? People were dying. My neighbor died. People I knew died. On TV, we were seeing mobile morgues. People dying. I didn't expect them to get it right 100%. I didn't expect them to get it right 50%. But when all was said and done, it got over. And I was just watching some people today saying, oh, it was the worst reaction to this. Reaction? Nobody knew squat. It was brand new. So we're not defending a person. We're defending the whole thing. And all I know is we got out of it. God bless. And if you didn't lose any loved ones, that's a great thing. And hopefully they learn from it and do better. Let's hope it never happens again, but if it does, learn from whatever mistakes there were. And of course there were mistakes from everybody. It was a moving target. That's my Fauci. And now we move on. So, we segue, as always, pretty quickly. Up next, economics versus oil and yields. Up next on Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge
The last bastion of quality programming.
with Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
Okay, I'm going to explain this in the best way I know how. And I think I can explain it where your 12-year-old can understand it. In the markets, we believe the stock market has open ears, and we believe it has a big mouth. We really do believe the market flushes things out early. We have seen it time and time and time again throughout the years, and sometimes there are extremes. Back in 2007 and throughout 2007, financial stocks were underperforming badly. And I remember to the point where, and we're talking big banks and things like that, they started leading the market down. And then I remember the Dow rallied 1,000 points and the financials could hardly budge. And I was thinking to myself, there's something wrong with the financials. So we would come on to this radio show and whoever follows us and telling them, there's something wrong with the financials. We have no idea what it is, but man, it's really weak. And then after the Dow rallied 1,000 points, the financials led down, led by these major league, gotta own for life big banks. And at the end of the road, Merrill Lynch, Bear Stearns, Wachovia, Countrywide Financial, Lehman Brothers, whoever else, went to zero. Citigroup was going to be a zero. They saved Citigroup. They made a decision not to save Lehman. And in case you don't know, Citigroup stock right now is trading at $61. But it's not. It's trading at $6.10. It did a 1-for-10 split. It's still down 90 some odd percent from back then, 07, 08, because they had to do a whole different thingamabob and got diluted up the wazoo. So that was a time where there was this extreme market yelling and screaming something was up with a certain area. And then there were moments in time where we're headed for a recession, if not a big recession. And all we know is, from our studies, and I'm looking down right now at a bunch of boxes. In those boxes, in my office, are folders. Here's one that's titled Commodities, April 29th of 09. It's just a bunch of charts of commodities, and I'm giving you a area and a date. We have gone back to what the market does before recessions. And basically, every time, what tops out? Transports. What we call economically sensitive stuff. We're talking construction, building, things you build with, machinery, tools, chemicals, and the like. I think you get my point. So we're always watching that, not to hear an economist tell us about an economy, because a perma bear on the economy will always stay a perma bear, a perma bull will always stay a perma bull, but we're always looking to see what the market's telling us. And all we know is, a while back, the transports topped. And then all of a sudden we get a GDP report. That's 1.3%, down from the threes. So the market was flushing out the GDP already. But since the transports have gotten worse, housing is topped, and mind you, remember the word housing when we come back to you on yields. Building/construction has topped. Tools, machinery have topped, with some of them not just topping off a top, but going into their second, third, and fourth stair step to the downside. When you have a chance, go look at a symbol called BLDR. It's just called Builder's First Source. They do about $15 billion in revenues. Building products for residential new construction was 214 in March. It's 146 today, and has broken a couple of areas of support. And as we go through every day, there's more names. I can give you symbol after symbol, stock after stock that have been breaking down. And now, recently, what did we tell you a while back with oils? In fact, we told you it was right around second week in April, we're worried about the oils topping. And then they topped, they broke, they sat around and broke again to the downside. And what's happened? Now oil prices are plunging. Now that's good news at the pump. I can promise you, if nothing changes from this second, in about 10 to 14 days, prices at the pump are going to be cheaper, except for like a California that keeps raising gas taxes because they're insane there. And what else is happening? Steel, aluminum, copper, and all that stuff that were bullish have not only turned down, but they're turning down pretty good. Putting into question DEMAND. Is oil prices tanking? Are commodities tanking? Are uranium and copper and aluminum tanking? Are all these economic areas tanking based on the market seeing something about the economy? Housing tanking. And we're bringing this up because yields are also tanking. The 10-year yield has dropped in 4 days from 4.638 to 4.336. Doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot. And during that time, housing stocks have been breaking down more when normally housing stocks would move higher on lower yields. You catching the drift? Up next, we'll continue along these lines. Then today's market. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
So, all it does is having us ask questions. Wow, yields are just tanking, but so are housing stocks. Yields are tanking, but so are building stocks. Yields are tanking, but so are construction stocks. Yields are tanking, but so are transports. Yields are tanking. You catch the drift? Yields are tanking, and commodities are tanking. Huh. Now, takes me to the next part of the equation. Doesn't yields tanking and oil prices tanking, could the market being look beyond that mountain of the yields and oil, maybe saying demand dropping to, hey, easier money going forward? Well, today we had another one of those days where it was weak and finished with the Dow up 140. S&P only up 8 though. NASDAQ up 28 after being down about 80. NASDAQ 100 down 53, but the transports were down another 140. Commodity stocks were trashed. Economically sensitive stocks, I can go through a litany of what they look like. Yikes. Oil stocks blasted also. And may I add, retail hit hard today with the Dow up 140. Semiconductors had a rough day, but off the lows. And in case you don't know, in spite of AI, semiconductors are very economically sensitive. Something to watch closely. The good news is the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ 100, all three remain above the 50-day moving average, and we call them in shape. The Dow, which has been weaker, is close to the 50-day. It's trying. So the big indices, no issues. The small indices are lagging again badly, as usual. And a lot of these areas are getting smoked. Smoked. Now, the good news for somebody who really watches things, we'll see what comes out of it. We'll see what comes out of it. The leadership will show itself. If these economic areas turn, we'll know it. But here's a day, another day, and by the way, this is not the first time we've brought this up. It just got more accentuated today. We don't try to guess here. We don't try to predict. But based on precedent, I would suggest if the market flushes out, just an economy that softens down to flatline. Let's say we get GDP at 0, no growth. I don't think that'd be the end of the world for the market. But if the market flushes out something onerous, I would suggest they're going to take most everything down. But I am not seeing that yet in any way, shape, or form when you look at the big indices. Now, when you look at other areas, as I stated, ick. And by the way, they got gold and silver too today, to a pretty decent extent. So those are the numbers. And in the Dow today, they went after United Health was up 8, Boeing was up 4, acting a little bit better. I mean, the stock's been in the brutal bear market since like 19, those two tragic crashes and their mishandling of it. But nothing really down except in the Dow, Caterpillar. Guess what Caterpillar is? Pure economics. Probably our number one stock to watch economic-wise. Number 2, as we always told you, United Rentals. And United Rentals has been under some serious pressure. So stay tuned. We asked all of you to send us your thoughts on your industry and jobs. And I can tell you about 7 out of 10 are worried. I had one that said things are going gangbusters. And it happened to be, guess where? That energy thing. And 2 were, So to be watched. We had the thought process a while ago that we were slowing down economically. We had that thought process. I think we're in the midst. And now, how much we don't know. I can tell you, the Marxist-in-chief Biden is just pedal to the metal on spending and deficit spending to keep things moving, building his government into this giant blob. You have Janet Yellen standing by, not giving a crap about our treasury, and knowing got to keep yields down, so she's funding the government when bonds mature with short-term bonds in order not to sell long-term bonds to keep things down. They're doing everything possible via the government to win the election. That's what Marxist, socialist control freaks do. And that's a bunch of the market, ladies and gentlemen. Very weird. My economic screen looks like the south end of a northbound jackass. And I really can't tell with the Dow 140 what was up that much, except some down names. And, of course, NVIDIA was up 11. Because NVIDIA is just an insane asylum right now. Actually was up 14, is actually down $2 in the aftermarket. So therein lies your story. Tomorrow's another day. If anything changes, we'll let you know. You can't hide markets and what they want to do. We'll look for the setups. We'll see the setups. Close our eyes, hold our nose, and pray. No, we won't. We've tried that. It does not work. And that's your market. What benefits from lower oil? You know, it's been strong the last couple of days. Cruise lines. Some of the airlines. Why? What's the biggest expense of cruise lines and airlines? Oil. Oil prices plunge. The thought process is, hey, profits will be better. Just trying to put little 2 + 2 = 4 together. What else is showing some strength? Just letting you know. Coca-Cola. Showing strength. Dr. Pepper. Showing strength. Why would that be? Well, what does best when the economic slows down in the markets? Normally, they're called recession-resistant areas. Food, drug, beverage, tobacco, household products. Speaking of tobacco, guess what's at new yearly highs? Philip Morris and Altria Group. Altria Group manufactures cigarettes and tobacco products. Philip Morris, the same. You know, let's get rid of the tobacco, but let's legalize the marijuana. There's an ad in Florida about the legalization of marijuana. You know what the ad is? You know what the marketing is? We can watch it closer if it's legal. Yes, thank you. We appreciate it. Nicotine bad, weed good. We like a lot of stoned people. I gather people in government are buying Doritos and macaroni and cheese futures for them munchies. Don't you love the thinking of government? They're just fab. May I state for the record. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're going to talk Taylor Swift and J-Lo. Jennifer Lopez. What the heck does that have to do with anything we talk about? Well, it is everything we talk about here about great and not so great. Demand, strong or weak? That's up next on This is the One and Only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
Hey, let's talk logic first. This clown, Roaring Kitty, and I don't know him, but if I met him, I'd have 3 words for him, and that would be cut the crap. And I think I'd use the other word. Because what he is causing is people losing a lot of money. The latest, remember what I said? I'm wondering if he went upside down and was losing his arse when he went out and put up videos and had the stock go from 15 to 64.83, right back down to 17, causing all kinds of problems for people that bought high. So what does he do? He comes out with ownership, and I don't know how he ended up with I guess they're saying $100 million of GameStop. They opened it up at 40.5 yesterday. It's 26.5. Let's see. That's $14 on 40.5. 35% drop in a day. So we hope you listen. I really do believe you're dealing with a nefarious piece of crap. I'd say it to his face. He knows he has influence. He's taken advantage of all. And I hope he goes by the wayside like the dodo bird. More importantly, as I have told you, I have no clue what this stock does. I don't know whether it goes to 100 tomorrow or 10. What I do know is ultimately they all go back to where they came from, and just please be smart. That's all we ask of you. Please be smart. They opened it up at 64.83 a couple of weeks ago. They closed it at 48. Within 5 days, it was 17 and change. Then he pulls his shtick again. They opened it at 40.5 yesterday. It's already 26.5. The company, their business is heading south. They had to do a secondary, which dilutes the stock. And by the way, the other meme stocks crushed from the open yesterday also. Just watch yourself. We're not telling you what to do. We're not telling you to buy, sell, short, or cover. It is your money. But somewhere along the line, you've got to take the information at hand and realize this guy, I'm sorry, this ain't a good guy. That's all. And he's taken advantage of a company with a big short position. But anybody who's getting in late is getting squashed. And I fear that there's another run in the stock. I actually fear that. Because I know what's going to happen at the end of any run it has. Eventually, it's going to go where it should be valued. Next. Why do we own NVIDIA? Well, demand has skyrocketed. If it was a restaurant, I saw a video the other day. I'll take that back. There is a gelato place in New York City called Anita Gelato, Anita. Walk past it any time of day, and especially at night. There are 1,500 people waiting 45 minutes to get gelato. Demand. Taylor Swift. Demand. Sells out everywhere. In the States, by the way, if you want to go see Taylor Swift, go to Europe. It's much cheaper in Europe than here. But you have to fly to Europe. But she sells out everywhere. Demand. This is not to put this young lady down. We're just talking business. Jennifer Lopez just canceled her tour. She said it was to be with family. We take issue with that, and we hope everything is fine with her and her family. We hope this is not about ill will. But Jennifer Lopez is canceling her tour because she can't sell tickets. A lot of the venues had a ton of empty seats. And she decided just too much. Why do we own NVIDIA? And why don't we own Tesla? NVIDIA, monstrously strong demand. Tesla, monstrously weak demand. As the industry goes south, as the governments that have tried to force it upon people have found out that people may not want electric vehicles and go screw. Even with taxpayer funding of $7,500. So we just want to point out to you, two people trying to sell tickets. One, boom. The other, see ya. And that's how we look at stocks. We're always asked on TV, and we're always talking about buy greatness. Stay away from failure. And we're not calling Jennifer Lopez a failure. But if she's trying to do a venue of 50,000 and only gets 20, it doesn't look that great. But I'm not sure if she did arenas or stadiums, to be honest with you. But I do know definitively tickets were not selling well in many areas. So we're just letting you know how we look at things. Why don't we own Tesla? Well, sales. Last 4 quarters, plus 47, plus 9, plus 3, minus 9. NVIDIA, sales, 101, 206, 265, 262. That's what we're talking about. It's the Kmart versus the Walmart. That's what we're talking about. Why are there no Kmarts? Because they left their business for dead. That guy Eddie Lampert who bought into them did not do anything with the stores. And as we've told you in Lake Mary, we had a Kmart, we had a Walmart and a Target. You went into the Kmart, it was dingy, it was dirty, shelves were empty, nobody was helping. You go into Target, it's beautiful, bright red. You go to Walmart, this nice man or woman is greeting you. Prices good. Do you go to Kmart? No, they shut down. And the same thing goes for crappy restaurants versus good restaurants. So we're just letting you know, just a good example of demand. And again, we're not here to put anybody down. God bless her. I hope things work out for Jennifer Lopez and she can do concerts and sells them out like crazy. We're just making a point. That all said, have a great evening. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. It's quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Not short TV tomorrow. Serenity now. Bye-bye.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.